listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now, the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Project Runway After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Project Runway After Show.
Hey everybody, Bing is for doing, and here at AFTERBUZZ TV we're doing another very special recap of Project Runway Season 11, Episode 8, Take It All Off. Get in there, Jake. All right, I'm Alina, and this is my wonderful co-host for the night.
Hi, I'm Jake Dupree.
Awesome. We're gonna miss Lo, Virginia, and Cougar tonight, but unfortunately they missed a really fun episode, didn't they?
They for sure missed a really great episode.
Yes.
Kind of tragic, but good.
Very bittersweet.
Yes.
The clients tonight were the Thunder Down Under, right?
Uh-huh. They were voted actually Vegas's top best review this past year.
Really?
They beat Showgirls. They beat all of it. All the glitz and glamour for some naked abs. That's all it is.
Naked Aussie abs.
Naked Aussie abs. 100% Australian, honey. That's what it is.
Let's talk about the challenge. Jake, tell us a little bit about it.
So the teams are split up into two teams of 4, and the judges actually picked who was on the team. So I think that was a really cool option, and it was really interesting seeing the catty, snarky remarks that they made about the contestants. And Daniel, Patricia, Michelle, and Stanley are all team Shades of Grey. And of course, Samantha, oh Lord, here I am. Samantha, Richard, Leanna, and Amanda are team Slick and Hip.
You got to tell me how they came up with that cheesy name.
They didn't explain it. They were just like, we're just team Slick and Hip. And I was like, there's no explanation for that? Come on, give us an explanation for that, because that name was...
Slick and Hip?
It was interesting. It was something.
It didn't even, like, they didn't even have a theme.
No,
I mean,
no.
At least Shades of Grey, they tried to do the whole Office.
Maybe they were like slick because of body oil or something. I don't know. I don't know what they were going for, but it was very... strange. But the challenge is for them to design the opening number outfit for the Thunder Down Under, and the only requirement is that it has to be able to be torn away, like has tear away abilities. So it could be snaps, it could be Velcro, it could be zippers, whatever they choose.
Wow.
And
any legitimate designer should know how to make tearaway clothes.
I know, right? That's that's something that you should use in your private life. At some point in your life, I guess.
Sorry, elaborate. So the challenge, tearaway clothes, 3 outfits, right?
3 outfits.
And how long did they have at Mood and to make the outfits?
They had 40 minutes at Mood, and they had a day to make the outfits, and they had $750 for the 4 of them to split.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Fair enough. A day is pretty tough.
And for menswear, too, I think that was really, I don't think that was very fair in terms of the designers. I don't think that the menswear challenge is always, without a doubt, always one of the worst and hardest times for the designers. And every season. Yeah,
you're right. I absolutely agree. But I don't get why it's so difficult for these designers to make menswear, because
I mean,
they're less curvy.
Yeah, and you basically make it on the box instead of like more just tailored.
Yes. I mean, there is an exception for tonight's challenge. Obviously, these guys are huge, and they kept mentioning, we'll get into it in the workroom, how it was so difficult because these guys are huge. One designer was like, the guy's thigh measurement is as big as the model's weight.
I think Stanley was the one that said that. Yeah, that would be so hard, but it'd be kind of easy too. The thing is, I don't get is that going into Project Runway, you know that at some point there's going to be a menswear challenge, like it's every season. So why not be prepared for it? And that none of them were.
Oh my goodness. ridiculous.
And I thought that Stanley would come through because he said he had just done a McDonald's commercial or something, a commercial in LA shooting, and he had made costumes, and for some reason it didn't go his way at all. At all. So Stanley, I love you and you're great, but the tailoring was so off. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
We will get there because everybody's tailoring was hideous.
Woo.
And I could have made better. Not really, but.
And one of the lead guy of the Thunder Down Under, he said that he wanted the clothes to be new and hip, but it had to be tearaway and it had to be suave, sophisticated, and masculine.
Okay.
So whatever that defined, you know, for the designers, whatever that would define for them. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Let's get into the workroom then. Shades of Grey seem to be doing pretty well. They were using each other's strengths. Michelle mentioned each person has a special assignment. Patricia was working on textiles. We know she's good at that.
Yes.
Stanley was making the patterns, and so forth. Daniel, you know, has his strengths. So I thought they were doing pretty well.
I thought that they were going to deliver amazing things. It seemed like really efficient. Like they all had a purpose, and then I don't know where it went wrong, but it did.
Yeah, and I just thought it was weird that Stanley and Michelle had 3 pieces to make, and Patricia was working on a shirt.
Yeah, a shirt. Just that's it. And she didn't even make the shirt until the second day, or like the few hours before they went on the runway.
Yeah,
it's just strange.
It was strange, and we kind of see this season because Patricia is always doing something really intricate, so it takes longer.
Yes, and then I was expecting something from that shirt. I don't know what it was, but
I was expecting something too, but not that.
I don't know. I kind of think Patricia, I think she's great, like in a kooky, weird way. I feel like if she had the time, she could create something that's super amazing, just indifferent, very cool. Like on the first challenge when they had to, you know, she made that printed dress and where she painted the print. So I think she's capable of great things, but she needs time, like extended time to make them really worthwhile.
That's a great point, but unfortunately on Project Runway,
you don't have the time.
You don't have the time. Slick and Hip wants their looks to look chic, so there's already tension from the get-go between Richard and his teammates because they think that he's going a little too Vegas-y, a little too flashy.
But that's what this group is. That's what the Thunder Down Under is. It's Vegas, it's flash, it's fun.
Exactly.
I wish they would have gone with him.
I am kind of disappointed that Slick and Hip and Shades of Grey were going so boring. What's with the suits and sophisticated and chic? I mean, you're not Armani. And
you're not making it for a run, like it's not a typical runway show. Like there's a little bit of fantasy, like fun. I don't know. It was a missed opportunity for all of them.
You're not designing George Clooney's Oscar
No,
tax.
no.
Calm down. These guys are dancing on stage.
Taking their clothes off with Velcro.
Bachelorette parties in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. It was just a complete miss. I feel like no one knew what they really wanted, and I wish that they would have went with Michelle on Shades of Grey, who she wanted to do like the Wimes, like the Village People. She wanted to have like 4 different characters or 3 different characters, and she was like, I wanted there to be like a messenger guy or a fireman. I was like, that would be so fun. Like, why not do that?
Well, when you think of things like Thunder Down Under or even the Chippendales or whatever they are, that's what you think. I thought they're totally gonna have like, you know, the fireman, the cop, the cowboy,
like a little bit of campiness to it.
Yeah, maybe even a Pope costume, you know. That's
that would be amazing. That would be awesome,
a
actually.
Clergyman?
Oh my God. Yes. Can you imagine the heat they would have gotten for that? That would have been amazing.
The Pope retired and he's now working Thunder Down Under.
Touching bodies, hot bodies. I like it.
I don't know. This is your chance to be creative, people. Nobody wants to see a damn suit, especially a suit the way they made it.
No.
Well, besides Richard getting upset about not being able to use his creativity, him and Amanda bicker.
I feel like she's kind of bickery with a lot of people, though. Like every week, it's always kind of like there's this testiness to her.
She's been a bit bitchy. She always has something to say about, you know, people or complaining about flowers and this and that. So I wasn't surprised that she was a bit impatient with Richard. He was also tense, though, so. Yeah,
I feel like he just, after he didn't get his way, he just kind of gave up, which I don't think that, I think that he should have fit what he really wanted to do, like in the creative sense, and fit it into this, like, stereotypical business suit thing.
Yeah.
Funeral wear.
Yeah, because we see him like taking a toll, or this taking a toll on him. He calls his friend, he Skypes his friend, and he breaks down. So it's sad to see him break down, but like you said, you can't compromise what makes you happy.
He should have used those minutes breaking down to work on his shirts and his collars.
Get in there. Keeping it real.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like we mentioned before, the designers are all having trouble because these guys are so huge. And we see that this really affects their clothes because nothing fits.
No, nothing at all. And then Liana made that jacket that looked, when their initial jacket looked like a girl's jacket, and the one that went on the runway was a girl's jacket basically. And it also basically like had a peplum in the back that kind of gave it that cephalopod or whatever, like kind of like grasshopper look. I don't know.
I've never laughed so hard than this runway on Project Runway, because
and not in a good way.
Not in a good way. I was just shocked. I'm like, what the hell came down the runway tonight? We'll get into that. Liana is kind of clueless about constructing these men's clothes and the jackets. She asks Stanley for help. That was kind of awkward.
That was strange. And I'm surprised that Stanley's really nice, I guess. So
he is. He was really sweet about it.
But it's also a competition too.
Yeah. So it's odd that she goes to a guy on a different team and asks him for help. We mentioned how Michelle and Stanley did 3 pieces. Anything else in the workroom that you wanted to add? Should we talk about Tim's visit?
Oh yes, for sure. Well, I think Tim made a great point about team slick and slide. He said that they were like frenetic energy, and he felt like even whenever they were at mood, they were just a hot mess and completely not acknowledging each other and cross-checking what they wanted to do. I mean, he called it, and he always does. He's always the voice of reason, obviously, and they should have listened to him. They should have just taken what he said and gone in the opposite direction, because it seemed like he was trying to steer them away from doing these like business suits and things. Absolutely.
And Tim, instead of working together, Liana goes to Stanley, Richard cries to his friend. It's like, get together and work on this and try to make your best clothes. I mean, the only person who seemed kind of sane on the team was Samantha. Right?
But she's always like cool. She's just cool all the time.
Yeah, she doesn't get into the drama or the bickering. She gets her work done and does a good job. So Tim also criticizes them about their lapels and saying that Liana's jacket was way too feminine. And he was right. It did look like a peplum in the back.
Yeah, that little bump right in the back.
Yeah, what was that?
I don't know. I don't think
I've even seen that on a woman's jacket. It was hideous.
I mean, it could work if I think maybe like a performer, like, maybe Alicia Keys could have something that's kind of cool, like a blazer that's really fitted and have that back that's kind of interesting. Maybe. If she's at the piano, because that's, all they're seeing is the back of her. So that could be interesting, but not for a guy. I'm sorry.
It was weird. Tim also goes to Shades of Grey, and he advises Michelle to lose the buttons on her interesting little vest.
Really good call, though.
Good call,
really
right?
Great call. I feel like they would have ripped her a new one.
Yeah, well, because the zipper was a highlight on her jacket.
It was cool. It was very Tom Brown for me. Like, very interesting. Like, it's very classic, but also has this interesting twist that's a little bit gothic and dark. And I like that. I like that about Michelle's every time she does a challenge, she always says, I'm going to do me. I'd rather go big and go home for it than just do nothing and get sent home for something that I'm not even proud of. So I was proud of her for completely doing something that wasn't cohesive with the other 2 looks.
Yeah, just because it didn't. And that's a great point, because at least she did something outside of the box. Everything else was just so boring.
They could have taken a note from her. They should have. They should have.
And even construction-wise, hers was the best. It wasn't good. It wasn't constructed well. But compared to everybody else, at least the vest fit the guy.
What did you think about Daniel's trench coat, though, whenever he was making it? I thought the sketch was going to be... I thought it was going to be really cool.
Well, as we saw, the sketches...
always look great, yeah.
The sketch, it was fine. I thought the idea was cool, like a trench. This guy, I'm imagining a stripper.
Taking it off.
Yeah, so I thought the idea could have worked, but after he constructed it, it was a big joke.
It was just like a lab coat, like a bad lab coat.
The whole shades of gray, they were drowning. They were
Yes.
drowning in
And the pants. I'm like, where's the fitted leg? Like, people don't wear like huge ass legs anymore. Like, that's not even cute. Like, that's
Everything
so
was
done.
dated. Oy.
Yeah.
So Tim also tells Patricia that she's taking way too much time on her textiles and it's not worth it. He tells her, shouldn't you be making the shirt first and then worrying about? And it's completely true. I don't get her.
I think that she could have come up with something really cool if she would have made the shirt, had it perfect, and then done something interesting like the applique on it. I don't know if I think it could have worked.
It could have.
It could have worked.
Did it?
No.
Tim also tells Daniel that his clothes sound like clergy.
Yes.
And that was my idea, but unfortunately,
they didn't deliver for you.
It didn't deliver.
Didn't deliver for you. Sorry.
Yes. So I had also written how Lyon asks Stanley for advice. We mentioned that. Michelle. Then the guys come in.
Yes.
Before I mentioned just Michelle. All the designers are having a lot of fun.
Oh my God. They're all like completely. This is like their dream basically come true.
Yes. What did you notice when the guys were getting fitted?
I mean, it was like, I loved that all the cameras were just pointing at their abs and their crotches. I was like, I mean, they know their audience. It's girls and gay guys who watch the show. I mean, I guess some straight guys, I wouldn't leave it out. But I mean, they know what they're selling. So, and they were selling great things. And I love that Michelle was having so much fun with these guys.
Michelle was
loved
having so much fun. She said, I want his crotch to look good.
She said she wants him to say that too.
Yes.
You made my crotch look even better.
Yeah.
I mean,
she couldn't stop kissing them. She's like, I'm getting in trouble for this. I mean, it was cute. It was cute. And even Liana was cute because she was blushing. How random was that? She's sitting next to one of the strippers, or I don't know what to call them, male performers. And she asks him if he's married. Like, who do you ask people that randomly?
I feel like she's just doing it for the camera to be like, hey, I'm funny. Like, you know, I don't know.
It was cute.
It was cute.
And he's like, are you married? She's like, no. I'm scared now. Let me so.
Was that the one that was like creepily smiling the whole time?
Yeah,
I think so.
He
Yeah.
was kind of creepy too.
Yeah.
I even had fun watching these guys go get their hair and makeup done.
Yes, that was really funny.
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't really do much with them, but
yeah.
I think it was funny, like watching all the makeup artists and the hairstylists. They were living for that moment.
What I have to say, this episode was terrible in the sense of the construction of the clothes, but everybody had a lot of fun with it.
It was extremely fun. I wish that the runway would have mimicked that, but, you know,
yeah,
that's okay.
It's okay. Because even, like you mentioned, the makeup artists were having a lot of fun.
And I think the designers had fun, too.
Oh, yes. Who wouldn't?
I liked Stanley's comment. They were like, did you check out the butt on the people? And Stanley was like, I checked out the butt. I got the butt covered. Like, don't be worried about that.
Oh, man. At least he's keeping it real.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Shall we before we actually get to the runway, let's talk about iTunes. We love you guys listening and supporting us. Please continue it, rate, comment. We do this show because we're fans, so we want to keep it going. And the only way we can is if you guys show your support, download us on iTunes, tell a friend, and
5 stars.
5 stars. Please. No, and we appreciate any comment, criticism, positive stuff, because that's how we get better. So keep it up. Go on iTunes, download, tell a friend. Thank you. All right, runway. Let's get to the fun.
Mm-hmm.
Which team went first? Was it Shades of Grey or?
It was Shades of Grey.
All right, Team Shades of Grey.
No, wait, it was Slick and Hip. It was Slick and Hip first. Excuse me.
Okay, save the best for last, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I could barely take notes because I was laughing so hard.
I was just mortified, like the entire time, just staring at the screen, like what is going on? Like it was a hot mess. Like that's an understatement.
The first look was Richard's, and all I wrote was shirt too long, terrible tie, what the fuck, ugliest jacket. Okay, so I mean, I'm sorry I cursed, but
you have to. It's forgiven.
What the hell?
Samantha's. I will say that Samantha's look. I think it was kind of cool. The shirt, she didn't make it, so you can't blame that on her. But It was the vest with the sleeveless shirt and the pants. I thought the vest and the pants were kind of cool. Like, I thought that it was like
it worked.
Kind of dancery and like a little throwbacky. I don't know.
It worked. It did look dancery, and the vest at least fit.
Yeah, it did. But the shirt made him look like he had a belly, and clearly they don't. They have like no % body fat. So
yeah,
that's really a shame.
What was up with Richard's long shirts?
I don't know. On Samantha's, I will say I kind of liked that long shirt. It was almost like Alexander Wang. I'm going on a limb here. Like it kind of reminded me of like Alexander Wang, who kind of lengthens things a little bit. And I don't know. It was interesting. I felt like if it was intentional, it could have been really interesting.
Okay, if it was intentional, I totally see your Alexander Wang, analysis of it or comparison, but I feel like with Wang, it's like t-shirts, not a dress shirt.
And I think that maybe they should have gone with some like t-shirt Alexander Wang, kind of like almost opaque, but kind of like see-through a little bit. I don't know. I think it would have been cool to do something interesting and different and fashionable rather than this business suit thing.
You guys are designers. The whole point is to be creative. Or, they could have gone completely cheesy and done fun, crazy stuff like the
Give us
fireman
camp,
stuff,
yeah.
or done something really high fashion. I just don't get it. Both teams go for these boring suits.
I don't know. I was expecting like cool, like maybe like drop crotch pants that were like lower. So that would be fun because it,
I don't know.
The implication you make from like drop crotch pants is like usually it's swinging low, so you gotta like have that room. So I don't know. It could have been interesting. It could have.
I
don't know.
It was terrible. All right. And anything else you want to add about Shades of Grey?
I said I liked that Zach Posen said this is like a weird dream. I was like, I bet it is for you, Zach. I bet it is for you.
He's completely.
And even Amanda said while they were walking the runway, this is the biggest train wreck ever. I feel like they knew they were going down.
It was so bad.
It was really bad.
And then we had Team Shades of Grey, which they were not much better.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I don't know.
Like the collars, the ties, that jacket, I couldn't stop laughing.
It was terrible. It looked like a little kid in his dad's suit. Like, okay, I'm gonna put this on right now and just look like a hot mess.
Oh
it was
my
so
God,
bad.
that coat was. And they were drowning. Team Shades of Grey, they were drowning. I feel like Slick and Hip. They had tight clothes that were way too tight.
They couldn't even stay together.
That couldn't even stick together. And then Shades of Grey did the opposite. They had them drowning.
Except for Michelle's vest. Michelle's vest was very fitted.
Yes.
Might have been a little small, a little short. I think it should have been a little bit longer. But I liked where she was going with that. At least she took a risk. Like I said.
Yeah, it was fine. Also with Shades of Grey, we should mention Michelle's outfit. She had something at least a little different. It was the short plaid vest with the diagonal zipper. I hated the pants. They didn't fit. They looked short.
It looked like 70s like disco dancing or something.
Yeah. And even the vest I thought could have been longer. It could have been done better.
Oh, for sure.
But at least it was something unique. It was the only unique thing walking down the carpet today.
Yeah. And I guarantee you that those bodies they dressed are probably the biggest like shapes they've probably ever dressed before. Yeah. And their shapes are so exaggerated. Like their shoulders are super wide and their waists are really small. So that's really, I feel like that'd be really hard to make and get it exactly right. So I feel for the whole thing.
Well, I feel the problem. Sorry, I'm the guy in the booth buzzing in.
Yeah.
Stephen Lemieux, Thunderdown Under expert.
Yes.
I feel like when you're doing men's clothes, it's different from women's in that with women's you want everything to be snug, tight, and smooth and make you look very feminine in your figure. But with like large guys that are buff like this, you want them to look masculine. You want the shoulders to pop out, but you also want the waist to be tugged in. So when they were doing the measurements, I think they were doing it skin tight as opposed to like the parts that need to be tight are tight and the parts that need to be exaggerated are exaggerated. So I feel like they just didn't really, for people who like know what's good looking, they didn't really know how to make a guy good looking.
No.
And the too much fabric, I feel they just, honestly, that's laziness in that they didn't want to taper down the back as well as they needed to, because if you taper down the back, it's going to tighten up the front, and the front looked like it was baggy just because of that.
Everything looked really cheap and
the fabric all
done.
looked really cheap, and they had a pretty big budget for 3 looks. Like that's a lot of money that they don't usually give them that much.
No, the fabric was terrible. Everything looked super cheap. Like Steven said, tailoring was terrible. They didn't get the measurements right, or the tailoring right at least.
And also one of the requirements is that it would tear away. And then Team Shades of Grey, that one guy couldn't even get his pants off. And then he eventually just was like, okay, I'm going. Like, he just like walked off, and I was like, that's really sad, because that's their whole shtick. Like, that's what they do.
It was
I don't know.
so bad.
It was awful.
It was atrocious.
I want to ask you, looking at their outfits though, if the measuring was right, do you think that which one do you think would have stood out?
Michelle's.
Probably.
And also Stanley's suit could have been, if it was tailored perfectly to that guy's body, it could have been crisp and amazing. Like, there's like that whole businessman fetish or whatever. Like, that's what it could have been. So it wasn't.
This decision's all chalked up because of their not used to doing the men's bodies then, really.
Yeah.
And lack of creativity, though.
Yeah.
I feel like if they would have gone for fun, like something crazy, that it would have been a totally different outcome. Like, I feel like we would have been like, this was so much fun, and like, this is one of the best challenges ever.
And if they would have done something creative and fun, if the construction had been this bad, it wouldn't have been as big of an issue, because you'd be like,
at least
whatever.
You went there.
It's a crazy fireman outfit. Who cares if the shoulders don't fit?
They could have just done like Cirque du Soleil stripper style.
Yeah.
And that would have been insane. And then you wouldn't even, I mean, their problem was they were trying to make like
Classy
one big
clothes.
piece that comes off for each clothing piece. No, why didn't you have several different pieces? Like, even if you make a suit out of a puzzle so you can peel one piece off at a time. Like, think of something. Come on.
Ass cheeks off.
Yes, there you go.
Crotch off. Like, that's really funny. That's awesome. I like your thinking.
What you didn't know is Lemieux makes strippers' clothes. No, I'm kidding.
Check it out.
Only the edible type.
Oh.
Woo! There you go. It was just bad. They were so boring. And they kept mentioning, even while they were in the workroom, sophisticated, chic. I'm like, you're not dressing George Clooney.
No.
Get over this.
And I think one of them said during the critique with Tim, oh, we thought about George Clooney. I was like, why? He's not a stripper. Think like Magic Mike. Like, think that thing.
Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
Think Ratchet.
Ratchet.
Get the Ratchet
Thank
Thunder
you.
from Down Under.
Ass.
There you go. Yeah.
No, and it just didn't work. When you're making tearaway clothes, you don't need to make an Armani suit for these guys.
No.
And on top of it, they don't have classy bodies for these classy suits. They have big, buff Ronnie from Jersey Shore bodies. Okay.
They for sure do. And then we, of course,
And the bronzer,
Shades
go
of
with
Grey.
it.
Oh, yes. And the bronzer and the hair product, go with it. And then Shades of Grey, of course, wins out of default.
Out of default. But let's mention who was the winner tonight, Jake. You can announce this big announcement. Who won tonight?
Who won tonight?
Project Runway first.
No one. Not a single damn person.
Can we get a little? Yes.
Or maybe
Thank
like
you.
a womp.
Yeah. Wah would be more appropriate. Yes.
A Project Runway first. We're on this late season, and there's no winner.
And how
No winner.
I completely agree. I'm so glad they didn't give anybody a prize.
I do think they should have given it to Michelle, just for the vest, just for the creativity.
For at least thinking outside of the box.
Yeah, but still, was it good? No.
No.
So sad.
It's just when I can sew the clothes that they put out, there's a problem.
I can get a
know-
hot glue gun and some fabric and like go to town. I can make some of those clothes.
Was it Zach Posen who said, "Why don't you staple the pants?"
Yeah.
When a freaking couture, he's not a couture designer, but he makes beautiful red carpet gowns. When he's telling you to use a stapler, it's bad.
He's just trying to save you, and that's not good.
It's bad. They mentioned using Velcro, anything. It was terrible. They were drowning.
No.
All right, and the loser for the night, the losing team was obviously Slick and Hip, and the loser was Amanda.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we knew it was coming eventually.
Yeah.
I knew she wouldn't win.
It was a long time coming.
Yeah. The thing is with her, I love the way she dresses. I think it's so cool and hipstery and interesting. Why doesn't she dress people like all of her models? She doesn't dress them like that, except for the Miranda Lambert challenge. I really liked that French dress, but that was like her only defining moment.
I think
for
she
me.
was a little insecure as a designer, and she held back, and she tried to go with safe things or just go along with her team, and we see that doesn't work. You need to be more like Michelle,
Yeah.
or at least in between, you know, where you're not taking too many risks, but
don't apologize.
Don't
for
apologize.
what you're doing.
Yeah. So we see Amanda go. It sucks, but what do you expect?
Yeah.
Terrible, terrible. And Richard was actually on the bottom as well.
I feel like everyone was giving him all these reads tonight, being like he's not a good designer and he's tacky. Though I do think his personal taste is not that great, I guess. I think that some of the stuff that he comes up with is actually very, very nice. And he's made some awesome things. I don't know what a few of the contestants were talking about.
Yeah, I think it's when you're on the runway and you need to point a finger. Mm-hmm. I think that had to do with it.
Yeah.
But tonight I agreed with him. He should have went with his gut and gone cheesy.
Stuck with it. And then even Nina was like, yeah, add diamonds to the buttons and stuff. I did not expect to hear her say something like that.
Yeah. Speaking of Nina, she was having so much fun. She couldn't stop laughing. And I couldn't stop laughing because she couldn't.
That guy's thighs couldn't keep those pants in. It was really sad.
It was so sad. He was literally peeling the pants off.
I guarantee those guys never once in their entire life have been like, I don't think I can keep these pants on. Like, and not in a good way. Like, usually they're like, yeah, this is intentional. But he's like, this is awkward. I'm sorry.
It was so funny. The whole show was funny. And it was great when Heidi said, I really couldn't wait for you guys to take these clothes off. And not because the clothes were so bad.
They should just sent them down in their, like, their Australian flag boxers. Like, that's it.
So much better. All right. What a disappointing episode.
Yeah. Womp womp.
Womp, womp, womp. Very appropriate. Jake, it was really fun having you.
I know. I was so happy to be here.
Well,
it was fun.
It was really fun, and I'm glad we had a few laughs over this episode.
Any predictions?
Let's see. I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I think Stanley's a pretty strong designer at this point, and I love Samantha, so I want to see something cutting edge from her.
I feel like the final three, if we can go ahead and just
I'll do
this. Okay, I will say it's gonna be Stanley, Samantha, and it'll be between Michelle and Daniel for me. I feel like they have the strongest viewpoints for me.
Okay.
But Leanna, she does come up with a good outfit though, so I'm not gonna count her out.
All right.
But I will say Daniel, Stanley, and Samantha.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah, okay.
I like that. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again. Follow me on Twitter @_Alina, ALINA23. Jake?
And you can find me on Twitter @Jake_Dupree.
Jake, do you do any other shows on
I do the Rachel Zoe Project, and I will be on Real Housewives Orange County, Dancing with the Stars, and Married to Medicine, coming soon.
Awesome.
So many things.
Everybody look out for Jake, and again, thanks for listening.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.